Hello everybody. Today we are going to roast some coffee using my IKAWA home roaster. This is not the commercial version. The commercial version is black, mine is white. However, it does a pretty darn good job. I've had this thing almost a year, and I've roasted a lot of coffee through it. When I first got it, it was a fun learning experience. All I had was the coffee that came with it. It actually came with quite a lot of different coffees from around the world, and the ones that I liked the most were coffees from Ethiopia. They were amazingly fruity and really bright and had a lot of depth. I'm very much a coffee connoisseur, kind of a snob. I travel with my coffee. Since I got this roaster, I travel with my coffee roaster because I want fresh coffee all the time, no matter what. I make both espresso. I have a Flare espresso machine. If anybody out there knows what that is, it is a manual press. It does an amazing job. Folds up into its own little travel kit, and I can put it together in just a couple, a minute or less. And I also have a manual grinder. I have the Apollo. I got it from Taiwan. It's an amazing grinder. It's actually quite a little work of art. It's beautiful. I will show it later in this video. Right now we're going to roast some coffee. I have the roaster all set up. I've got coffee weighed out. It says it is a 100-gram roaster, but like all the roasters out there, whatever they say they can do, you shouldn't do that much. You should do a little bit less. So I've got 90 grams of coffee. So today we are roasting a coffee from Honduras. This is 18 Rabbit anaerobic fermentation. I've got it set up on the app. Now this is a recipe that I created myself. When you pay for an IKAWA roasting subscription, which I only paid for a month and created a bunch of recipes, and then I canceled this subscription because, well, it's kind of expensive to just have all the time. I paid about $1,000 for this roaster, and I'm pretty happy with it. So we're going to get started. So I've got it all set up. I've got coffee waiting to go in. So I'm going to drop the beans in and turn it back. It's ready to go. All we need to do, it says add your beans, then press go on your roaster. So this is the go button. So this thing is going to get started. I'm going to click through back to the recipe. Because I want the countdown up here. So right now it's just preheating. It's getting ready. I do this in my laundry room because the laundry room has a really good vent. If I do it out in my kitchen, well, it's going to stink up the house a little bit. and if I do back-to-back roasts, the vent hood above my stove can't quite keep up with the little bit of smoke. And it's just a little bit of smoke. So it's climbing in temperature. The roast has begun. And it is going to get right to work. So with my roast that I have here, I have it set to go 8 minutes and 15 seconds. It probably won't go that far. What I'm going to do is, after I get to a nice rolling first crack, I'm going to press this little button and stop the roast. It will begin the cooling stage. I will take this little jar out and swap it out for this clean jar and dump my chaff. So right now the chaff is all going into that little jar. And it does a wonderful job. I haven't noticed anything flying around. So right up here is the exhaust, and so some nice warm air comes out of that. The whole top of the roaster gets pretty hot. There's a little sign up here telling you that it's hot. As well, it says right here, caution, hot surface. So this is cork, and I can touch that. There's no problem, but it's metal inside here. And that gets pretty warm, especially after you're on your second roast. I do 290 gram batches about twice a week, and that takes care of all of my coffee needs. I'm the only coffee drinker in the house. I don't know how many times I've offered a delicious cup of coffee to my wife. She just turns her nose up and says, no thank you. She drinks tea, so we can at least enjoy a hot beverage together. So we are 3 minutes into the roast, which is it's almost half. I'm going to say about, we're probably going to go six and a half minutes before we get to first crack. It could be 7. And it's different all the time. I would love to say, oh, it's going to hit first crack exactly at 6.5 minutes or 6 minutes 15 seconds. It's not. Even from first roast to second roast, a lot of that has to do with the roaster's not quite warmed up. And I've tried preheating the roaster without any beans in it. Doesn't seem to matter. First roast is going to do one thing, second roast is going to do another thing. You can see the temperature. I have it set at Celsius. I think it's easier to track that way. I could change it to Fahrenheit, but most of the coffee world roasts in Celsius, and so I'm not going to try and change how they do it. I'm going to adapt to the way they do it. So here we are. It's just about reached its peak temperature. It's at 237. It's going to get up over 250, and then it'll start to fall off. Coming up on 5 minutes. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear the crack. I tried to get the camera pretty close to the roaster. Right around the 6-minute mark, which we're quickly approaching. I like to be quiet and listen, so I'm going to stop talking. Okay, so I'm going to call it. I don't know if you could hear that crack. Right at 6 minutes 45 seconds, we started our crack. And I'm going to give it 90 seconds from here. So a minute and a half. So actually I'm not going to have to do anything because this particular roast is going to end right at the end of my recipe. So I don't even have to touch it from this point. If my first crack came a little sooner, I would just reach over there and touch that button, end the roast. But as it turns out, this is going to be perfect. 8 minutes 15 seconds. It's just going to stop all by itself. See the little blue light came on. Temperature's dropping. The fan speed increases quite a lot. So this little black line down here is your fan speed. I have it starting out pretty high in the beginning, and then it just slowly tapers off until the end, and then it increases rapidly and stays high until it has completely cooled. So that it gives you a pretty accurate temperature to let you know just how cool the beans got through the cooling stage. I've seen it get down as low as 38. So it looks like we're going to be a little more than maybe around 10 minutes for the entire roast. Now at this point, I know I'm getting close to the end, so I've already got beans weighed out, and I can just load these in for the next one, so I'm not wasting any time. So it's done cooling. Put my clean jar in, and all I do is press that button. I'm going to empty the cap. So we're going to roast again. the chaff jar back in. We're going to drop these beans in. It's telling me the door's still open. And press go. So these are the beans. I'm going to drop them in here so that jar is ready. These are quite nicely roasted. I love this coffee. I bought, I think I've got about 10 pounds of this. Hopefully I can get through all of that without it turning on me. I'm probably going to have to roast some up for my friends and just give it to them. So, as you can see, we're well on our way on our second roast. And I really just want to show everybody just how easy this roaster is. You know, the IKAWA sells coffee. You can buy a coffee subscription, and although they have really good coffee, and I mean some of the best coffee you can get, it is just too expensive. Now they do offer free shipping, and it's actually, you know, I'm in the US and it is coming from London. It's traveling a long way to get to me, and I think it's a bad idea to, you know, use up all those resources just to send a, you know, a small amount of coffee to me. I prefer to buy larger volumes of coffee from people here in the US. I found a few places around where I live. Haven't been too impressed with those resources. I'll probably do another video where I show all the different coffees that I've acquired and tried and where they come from. I'll list some great resources for green coffee that I've found. You know, I'm just a home roaster, and so there's a lot of coffee companies that won't sell to me. That, you know, I'm small peanuts to them, and you know, I don't have a resale license to sell coffee. Maybe someday, I don't know. I did buy this with the thoughts of, well, that's a possibility. I could become a coffee roaster. I don't know if that's what I'm going to do. All I know is I really like coffee, and I want the best possible coffee experience. Like I said, I've had many different espresso machines, coffee makers, all kinds of different accoutrements that you can buy to make your coffee experience better. My first espresso machine, I'm going to say this was close to 30 years ago. I bought a La Pavoni Yerba Cola lever machine. This was something that I found I had to order it from Italy These things were selling for, you know, $700-800, and somehow I found one that was a little over $400. I think it cost me around $500 after shipping. But I was so excited I got this thing, and the first thing I learned was, well, you need a grinder, which I didn't have. I think I had a blade grinder, and that wasn't going to work. But I wanted to use this machine, and so I went down to my local espresso stand and I said, hey, I have a little espresso machine, but I don't have a grinder. Can you grind me up some coffee and I'll buy it from you? And this place was more than happy to take care of my needs. They ground me up some coffee, I paid them and went home, and it was still not working. I was making mud. Okay, so this one's going to be a lot quicker. There we are. I think we're going to get a rolling crack here. Okay, rolling crack right now, 6:15. So a whole 30 seconds before the last one. So 45 seconds to go. Anyway, with my espresso machine, I was making mud, and it was discouraging. I also found out that if you're not careful when you're using your La Pavoni, you can have coffee all over the counter. I don't have that machine anymore. And there we are, 7:45. So, not sure why I got off on that topic, but that was the beginning of my coffee journey. I did eventually figure it out. I learned how to make a decent shot of espresso, but not with great consistency. It was not only a steep learning curve, there was a lot of frustration. You had to do a lot of temperature surfing, and there are tools today you could put on your espresso machine to at least get an idea of the temperature of the water that's pushing through your coffee. I don't think there's anything really accurate. You can get an idea. And so even after I learned how to make espresso through this little piece of equipment, it was never consistent. There are, of course, amazing espresso machines out there now, even for the home buyer, that you can buy for, I'm gonna say $600-700 that just do a spectacular job. So there we are. There's 2 roasts. Swap these jars out. Dump my cow. That's going to be ready for the next time I need espresso or need to roast coffee. So there we have our next batch. We are finished, and there is my coffee for the next week. So I still have coffee, of course. This coffee has to off gas, so I'm actually going to leave this sit with the lid off for several hours, and then I'm going to put the lid on just loosely, and in a few days, I'm going to say 4 or 5 days, this is going to be ready to drink. By that time I will have gotten through the coffee that I have. As I said, I don't drink stale coffee ever since I got this. I absolutely love this machine. Prior to having this, I used to buy more coffee than I needed, and I would end up throwing the coffee out. It would start to turn on me. I have a sense of smell and taste that I can tell. You know, I know immediately if the coffee's turning, and I don't want it. So I would then open up my new bag of coffee that I bought and throw the other coffee away. So that's it. We're gonna wrap this up, and hope you enjoy this. For those that are thinking about buying a coffee roaster, this is a great little roaster. Now, if you have a large group of people that you're trying to provide coffee for, this could be a little bit of work, but for 1 or 2 people, I think this is a great way to go. All right, thanks a lot.